Hey guys, welcome today to Speak to My Heart, the vlog. Today we're going to be discussing trauma in our communities. I know these conversations can be a little testy. They're serious conversations. If you ever need any support, any help, you can always look down in the comment section and you can see my email and I can try to refer you to services in your city, your state, wherever you are. But today we're going to talk about trauma. So the definition of trauma is damage to the mind after a distressing event. Trauma left untreated then can create mental disorders or mental health issues. And sometimes these things are situational mental health issues because you went through something and right now because you've gone through this, that experience is now creating a mental distress in your life. So you'll get diagnoses like depression or anxiety, but those things can be situational, and if they're left untreated, they can be more severe. But if you start to treat those things, then you can probably heal through that experience and you can start working on your own healing. So we talk about everything. I feel like on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, we talk about everything. We highlight things that back in the day, maybe 10, 15 years ago when social media was not booming, we would not highlight those things. A mother who lost her son can probably find a video of her son being murdered on social media. A girl who is being sexually assaulted or raped, she'll probably be talked about. It is all over social media on every major platform, and some people, are making jokes about it, or some people are shaming and blaming her as a victim. A homosexual male, that something might happen to him, someone might say, well, he's a man, someone might victim blame him or shame him for what he's experiencing. So, our trauma nowadays, though we're not getting it treated, is being exemplified on so many platforms that experience becomes another experience. Once your trauma is exposed on social media, we have IG pages that cover all of the murders that are happening in specific states. You see stuff like that all over social media, but we don't have a lot of those things that are helping us heal and work through our trauma. You don't see, therapeutic programs in influx on social media. You don't see positive things in an influx on social media. Some often say, which is funny, that you see the most positivity on social media on which day? Sundays. When everyone wants to be positive, when everyone's thinking about their religion or spirituality. But we have to think about how we can get more trauma-focused things out there to help us heal. We often avoid talking about our trauma because we want to create the life that we want. And that's not a bad thing. Some people don't want to talk about their traumatic experiences. But oftentimes when we do that, it's because we want to create a picture of how we hope our lives to be. Sometimes you'll hear about the person that was raised in the inner city or raised with their family, and then they come back home and they act like a totally different person. And it's that they're repressing, that experience in their life because they don't want to be connected to that thing and they don't want to identify with that thing. But I think that in our traumatic experiences, we're barely existing. I think that when we don't address our trauma, we don't exist. We don't really take the necessary steps to heal. And that is what Speak to My Heart is about. You'll hear that theme in every video, in every vlog, in every message. If you come to the seminar April the 6th, you will hear me stressing, because I cannot stress enough, that we have to take appropriate and immediate and intentional steps to kind of ransom the healing that we deserve in our lives, because it's important. What if saving your life, saving what you were going through, saving yourself from prolonged pain, what if that all could begin with just one conversation? Would you try it? Would you do it? What if I told you that can happen? That the way that you can change your life and you can heal your heart is by just simply having one conversation with one positive person, getting connected to one resource, and from there your life can change tremendously. I think that we should highlight that on all platforms, that if you can have a conversation with someone, you should. Don't sit and dwell in your pain. I've had a friend who committed suicide because of what he was experiencing in life. And if I could save one person from that experience, I would try my best every day, which is why I'm a social worker. I often like to ask people, what does it feel like? What does trauma feel like? If you could describe the trauma that you're feeling in life, how could you describe it? What words can you put to it? I would say shackled or needing to be rescued. I feel like when I can describe my trauma, it's feeling alone, it's feeling abandoned, it's feeling like no one understands what I'm going through. And the funny thing is that there may be 1 million people or 1,000 people out here who have been through what I've been through, but I still, because of my own trauma, I feel like this is my own experience and I'm alone. What does it look like? I can never forget reading this book by William Paul Young. One was The Shack and the other one is Crossroads. And in the book, they're in a part where they're out in the garden, they're planting in the garden. And while they're planting in the garden, you see weeds all over the place, and you see roses here, you see flowers there. And the person, his name was Mackenzie in the shack. Mackenzie asks, as he's helping God at the time plant in this place of all of these weeds and roses, it just was a mess. He asked God, where are we? And God told him, this is you. This is your heart. We're in the midst of your heart. It's a lot of beauty here, but then there's a lot of weeds here and a lot of other things here too. The funny thing that if you ever look at the definition of a weed is a flower that was grown in the wrong place. So it's not that it's not a flower. It's not that it doesn't have beauty to it. It just grew in cement, or it grew in a place where flowers doesn't grow. But in the book, The Shack, Mackenzie was in the midst of all of this stuff, and he couldn't even recognize that this was his heart. And God said, we're in your heart. And I have you here planning here because I need you to do the work in your own heart, because we can change what's going on in your life. And oftentimes I feel like that. People feel like they're in the midst of a garden. It could be beautiful, a beautiful garden, but you see thorns and you see weeds and you see trash and you just see rubbish everywhere. And as you're standing in the midst of it, you can, on one hand, see the beauty in it, but on the other hand, you can also see the mess in it. But oftentimes what we do is we harp on more of the mess than we do in the beauty in it. We harp on what we've been through and what we've experienced and what has hurt us, what has broken us, and we don't look at those other positive qualities that we have in our life, and we don't focus on those things, so we're not able to see the beauty in the mess that we are. But again, sometimes it takes you to be connected to someone else to see that beauty in yourself. Sometimes and you have to be connected to resources to see that beauty in your mess. Sometimes you have to take yourself out of your experience in order to see the beauty in the mess that you feel like you're in the midst of. And then you'll be able to see like it's not such a mess at all. We all have our own experiences in life. We all have our own, the way that we view and perceive things. And oftentimes we have to realize that it's not that we're all seeing something differently. We're just all seeing the same thing from a different view. And that's what Speak to My Heart is. It's always going to be this kind of heart-to-heart conversation to check you where you are and me, where I am, and to say, okay, so this is where you are, this is where you want to be, but what are you doing actively right now to get to the place that you want to be? Trauma. You have to want to heal through your trauma. I always say, and you'll probably hear this in a lot of my videos, what you relinquish, connected to your trauma, through your mind, you can rescue in your healing. But the only way you can rescue that in your healing is by relinquishing those things back out to the atmosphere, admitting to yourself and to others what you're experiencing, admitting your pain and your hurt, but then taking an active role in your healing. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to see you guys next time.